I remind you tomorrow night in Glens Falls at the Civic Center, 8 p.m. start, the World Wrestling Federation at its very best. Andre the Giant to meet Greg the Hammer Valentine. Also Bob Backlund to meet Cowboy Bob Orton. Ivan Putski against one of the Wild Samoans. And SD, Special Delivery Jones, also on that card. Hey, Johnson, I'll never forget when you were slapped across the face by Rocky Johnson in Piper's Pit. You were really not the most gracious host I've ever run across.
What is he looking for, cookies and milk? You're looking at the legend killer himself. You're looking at the fella that killed Jimmy Snuka. You're looking at the fella, Rocky Johnson wants to make a reputation for himself. He feels, all of a sudden he feels froggy, leaps on top of RP. Wrong, Gertrude. Wrong guy to leap on. All of a sudden, what you found out is it's a heck of a lot easier to jump on than it is to jump off. So now I got to go all the way down to Glen Falls to fight you.
Glens Falls.
Glens Falls. Excuse me, I'm certainly glad I didn't go to Glen Falls. What a waste of time. Go down there to prove myself to you. It shows you what a professional I am. I will fight anybody, anywhere, if the money's right. They made it right. I don't blame them. They want RP. Cost a little bit of extra money for them to get RP. You want to come down and finish it off? This is the place to get it done. As I say, it's a heck of a lot easier to jump off than to jump on. You understand? Am I going over your head? Rocky Johnson, let me have it. What I'm saying to you is I don't let the seeds stop me from enjoying my watermelon.
We had, say what? A whole lot of superstars on this stage here tonight. But I want y'all to know one thing. This is my house. And when I say who's
word attack skills and vocabulary too. Cover hits in the distant edition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetary like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beef, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
Ring Time Pro Wrestling is back at it again. Keith and Keisha in the building. Keisha, say hi to the people.
Hello everybody. Welcome to the middle of the week. As some like to call it hump day, I ain't calling it that. I don't have time for all that. We're just not doing that. It is what it is. So, yeah, I got to give extra long and ridiculous introductions to myself.
Yeah, it's middle of the week. We ain't doing nothing, and thanks to outrageous work schedules and stuff like that, we had to come up and record early. So here we are to talk wrestling and to get you set up for the TLC pay-per-view. Right. And I am only calling it TLC. I will not call it by its full ridiculous name that they've added a shit extra portion to.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna rip this to shreds when we go through this preview. I'm just saying, because everything about it is just backwards. It's backwards, and I'm just like, for real. But none of this makes any kind of sense. Okay, yeah, that's just, yeah. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll recap the week. We watched Raw, and they had the Slammy Awards. Oh, before I get too deep, it's Ring Time Pro Wrestling. You can find us a variety of ways. RingTimeProWrestling.com is your all-everything source for everything Ring Time Pro Wrestling. It's actually been getting updated the past few days, so fresher content is available. We are on every platform you can think of. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, YouTube, TuneIn. So search Ring Time Pro Wrestling. You should find the show. Anyway, tell a friend that's one way they can find the show. Ring Time Pro Wrestling, Podomatic. We're just there. We're in these streets. Any mobile device or app you have, we're probably on there, so you can play us. Podbean, don't matter. All right, but let's get to business. So we had the Slammies, right?
Yeah, the Slammies.
I thought they handed out a good portion of the awards before the show.
Right.
This was so much more awesome when it was its own separate show.
It really was. Like, it always needs to be its own separate show. Personally, it was just better that way. I mean, it gave him something. Not only did it give him something else to watch, but it was just more interesting. It was.
Also, I think the product was more interesting.
Right.
I think I don't know how much the awards were better or if the product was just over. And right now it's not over by any stretch of the imagination, right? So, I mean, I got through it. Seth Green hosted. I don't have any problems with Seth Green. He's a big fan. He's always around.
Right.
Main event was set for the night. Cena versus Big Show. Keisha, we like 2 weeks too late for this main event.
Yeah, we are. That should have been happened. That should have happened the night after Survivor Series. Yeah. Why? Like, in my mind, I was thinking to myself, like, why are we doing this now? You know? Like, that definitely should have happened 2 weeks ago, when the night after Survivor Series. Then it would have made more sense. Then it would have been more interesting. But instead, they wait 2 weeks, and then they're like, oh, let's have this as the main event. For what? For what? I swear. They wait till things are irrelevant, and it's like, yeah, hey, let's do this now. For real? But y'all could have been did that. Like, what? Okay.
I think they really don't have a major creative direction. That's why we still in this Authority versus Team Cena storyline. It's the guys that was on Team Cena versus the Authority. Nothing really has changed. They all wrestle each other every week.
It. Some people aren't even seeing it. Like, they're just kind of, oh, it's all the heels and the faces. Yeah, that's what Team Cena versus Team Authority was. So,
well, no, I mean, I think everybody's seeing it. Like, I don't think anybody's delusional to what's going on right now. I mean, we still got corporate Kane walking around, and there's no more corporation. He doesn't have a corporate job. He's not director of anything.
Exactly. But he still has on those corporate pants and out there wrestling shirtless. It's a little disturbing, if you want me to be technical. I mean, if you want me to be honest, it's highly disturbing to see him out there like that. It's like, Kane, seriously, dude, put on a shirt. Can we get back to the big red machine, please? Can we do that? I mean, he's really like, he has no position. The Authority gave him the position. He has no position, so what's the point in not being out there in this whole corporate Kane persona if you're not corporate Kane? Like, I don't know. You know, Seth still has the security, and it's like, is he always going to have the security? Because the Authority gave him the security, so it's, you know, like, okay, who's paying them to be his security? Is it him? Like, are we sticking to this? I still don't get that myself. Like, I don't know. I have too many questions. I have way too many questions about things that are going on now that I think should have been over or should have just completely disappeared when the Authority disappeared. So, you know. And maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
No, I mean, it's just, I'll try to shore up some of it, but it's a little wacky. For the most part, I go with the bright spots. I thought the Kofi versus Stardust match was decent.
Yes.
I think the idea of the New Day still bothers me, but I'm still intrigued. Right? I'm still sitting on that fence. This feud, I guess, will have its big match Sunday at the pay-per-view. But let's move along a little bit better. I thought Charlotte's debut was nice.
Yay, Charlotte! I'm sorry, I love Charlotte. I mean,
it's about time. She's on the main roster, so we'll probably see a lot more of her. So, I didn't like I'm still tired of the natty TJ thing, too. Like, I think that's really annoying.
Well, it really just doesn't make sense, you know? Like, well, I mean, their marriage makes sense. Like, this whole heel-face combination, all of it doesn't make sense. You know, some of it just is, why? That's the question I have.
What it is,
why?
I guess it's supposed to drive people to Total Divas. Because if you watch Total Divas, it kind of makes some level of sense, but it doesn't. It still shouldn't spill off into the ring, right?
Right.
Now, the only argument is that this is probably the most exposure Tyson has had. Like I think a lot of people have advocated for him to get exposure, for him to get in the ring, and people to see him on TV. And this is probably the most he's had, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's came through these means, but this is the biggest platform that we've gotten for Tyson Kidd.
Right. This should never happen this way. Like, personally, I just think that it's a little too much, I must say. It's just a little too much, and it's just kind of like, why, you know? So, I personally, I'm getting tired of it myself. I don't like seeing it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I'm just kind of like, okay, this needs to be over. Like, I'm going to need him to stop coming to the ring with her, and I'm going to need, I mean, unless, of course, as we have stated in the show, in the previous show, you know, unless he decides that he's going to start intervening in her matches and helping her win, and she's going to help him win, and, you know, this manager, you know, wrestler type role or whatever, then, yeah, that all would make sense, but they're not doing neither one of them is doing either of that. So that's where it just all stops making sense. I don't know.
They just, it's a rudderless ship. Like, it's kind of spinning. And they haven't quite figured out how to bring it all back into focus.
Right.
I didn't like seeing Harper and Rowan wrestle. Like, I thought that should have been saved. Like, it's not that I don't like seeing them two wrestle each other. I just think the long build-up with them being in the Wyatt family, if they're going to have something, it needs to be more thought out and more put together.
Right.
Like, I think it should have a story. Maybe one of them was the chosen one of the Wyatt family. Maybe one of them was the one that, you know, they thought was going to be the next one, whatever. But I think Harper needs to resolve his Dolph Ziggler issue, whether he drops the belt or not. And then maybe we could have something substantial. Rowan got issue with the Big Show. And maybe that needs to get taken care of also.
Right.
I would even say it's almost time for Show to sit down, but I know they got to use it for the Rumble.
Of course.
So it's kind of like when you got a guy that big and that strong, it's hard to book him. Because in theory, he should be able to crush everybody on your roster, right?
Right.
But they have to try to keep the credibility of the roster. What they used to do back in the day was Andre didn't compete for titles that much until like 87, 88. But for the most part, he stayed out of the title picture. Because there was territories, he would travel to different territories. So the attraction would be he come, to your town once a year for about a week and do his thing, and then he's gone. 2 weeks at the most. So the idea would happen is that he always stayed fresh.
Right.
Because by the time he came back around to the home organization, they hadn't seen him in 6 months. Kept him fresh. I don't think they have that kind of idea or that kind of planning at the WWE. I don't think they even have that kind of planning just to keep guys fresh. You know what I mean?
No.
Like how we have this 300-day schedule and people are wrestling over and over again and grinding unless they get hurt. I mean, we should fade people in and out of the stories. Keisha, I watch a lot of UFC. They have a pay-per-view every month. You know why I don't complain about it? Different people fight. Different people fighting. It's not the same thing. Hey, if you're gonna have, I think the talent is just overexposed, and I think that's part of the issue. I think the business of it as itself is overexposed when it comes to WWE, and I think they've peeled the curtain back too far. And then what they've tried to do is still try to create a fake story behind the real story, and it doesn't work either.
Well, it's because it does too much. That's the problem. Like, you're trying to overlap. You're trying to do too much. You can't do all of that at the same time. like that's the problem. And having a pay-per-view every month is another problem. Like, when you only had it, when there was only 4 pay-per-views a year, it was greatness. When there was only like 6 pay-per-views a year, it was greatness. You know, once they got up to probably about 8, that's when it was like, okay, this is good, leave it at that. But now we're at 12, 13? Like, seriously? You don't need a pay-per-view every month. Like, when I was watching Survivor Series and they were announcing TLC was in 3 weeks, I was like, for what? That was my first thought process. For what? Why do you need a pay-per-view in 3 weeks? For what reason? Like, you don't need a pay-per-view in 3 weeks because you're barely done with the pay-per-views you got going on right now. like, we were like halfway through Survivor Series, not even, before you were already advertising the next pay-per-view. So you don't have time to create something new. There is no time to create something new. You have to sit there and jump off of what's already there and then make it work. That's the problem. At least when stuff was more spaced out, you had time to create something new and make it make sense. That's why we have the stairs match going on. Seriously, dude. And we're not even going to talk about, like, how out of order all these matches are in the first place. Because your title match is not a table, ladders, and chairs match. It's just a ladder match. But then you have a table, ladders, and chairs match where there's nothing on the line and nothing up for stake. And it's like, okay, what? But I digress. Because I can do this all day. I'm telling you. This is just I can't. It makes no sense, Keith. It makes no sense.
No. And as we get to our pay-per-view preview, we talk about different things. We'll get a little deeper. I think Raw showed its scatterbrainedness in the brawl at the end of the show. It was all over the place. You didn't know who was, you knew who was coming down next. You knew how it was going to end because of just the sheer numbers.
Exactly.
But I think they're just trying to figure it out, and maybe they just try to stall till Royal Rumble. Rumble will be the place. Will be because you're gonna have your returns, right?
Right.
So I was with Jericho. He says he's hosting Raw next week. He'll be back for the Rumble. Roman Reigns will be healthy and be back for the Rumble. Possibly you get Daniel Bryan. You know what I mean? Those are 3 big tools that, move around however you choose to use them.
Yeah, this is true. Okay, it's true. So I guess we just have to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I'm not excited to see it, it's just craziness. It's like, seriously, dude? It's like, and then you don't know, and then you do know, whatever.
Right.
So, but I personally think that we're a little too soon for another pay-per-view, but what do I know? I'm just a fan.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I do get that they have investors, and those investors want something producing revenue every period because they want money. I don't know how better served they are from having a pay-per-view every month.
Right.
Versus maybe once every 2 months and maybe still get double the buys or maybe, you know what I mean? But maybe they don't think the audience exists in that way either. Because that audience has changed composition over and over again, even to now.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've been having some weeks where I'm like, why am I watching this shit?
I mean, it happens.
No, I'm wondering. I'm legit like, man, why am I still on board?
Right.
Like my complaint rate has risen like 50%. And when that happens, it's kind of like, I don't want to be like those people that I complain about that watch Saturday Night Live and live tweet the hate of the show for an hour and a half.
Right.
And I mean, there are bright spots. There are good talents. You know what I mean? For the most part, I have no problem with the talent roster. I think they're great. I think they're thin. I mean, that's why you had to break up the Shield. That's why you had to break up the Wyatts. It's not so much of like you didn't want to keep them together, but you couldn't. You had to be able to spread these matches out.
Yeah, you had to do something in order to create more of a show. Because if you didn't, then you wouldn't have had one. You know, I mean, because then it would have just been the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And then
I mean, it's still the exact same thing over and over again, Keisha. That's not use that.
I mean, but still, like, okay, I don't know. Like, personally, there's no other side to this argument. Like, it's just kind of, it's kind of one-sided, to tell the truth. Like, there's really nothing that can be said that can defend them on this whole position. Like, they just kind of been producing the exact same thing in different, and I have to say they're reaching. That's the word that I want to use for it. They're reaching towards trying to create something different, but it's just kind of falling flat. So, yeah. That's how you create this disgruntled fan. The person that watches every week, but just has to wonder why. Like, am I really going to keep doing this to myself, or am I going to change this eventually?
Right. With that, it wasn't really a lot going on Raw. So, with that being said, we're going to take our first break, shut it down, flip it back on the first end, and go through some news and notes and preview this TLC. The news won't be heavy this week either because there's a lot going on. I mean, there's a few blockbuster announcements that you may or may not have heard already. But we'll get it out and we'll be back.
Cool.
The world is a very scary place. The ones who are meant to protect you are the ones that you should fear most. I used to be afraid. But she came to me. She whispered in my ear. She told me that I was special. That I would never truly be alone. She said, you'll have the spirit by your side, boy. A spirit that will guide you on this journey. A spirit that represents who you truly are. As you walk alone on this journey, boy. All that you shall leave behind is smoke, desolation, damnation. It's coming.
World Ring Time Universe, we are back. Usual segment, birthdays. Interesting week of birthdays. Monday, Michael Cole celebrated his birthday, and I'm sure they talked about it on Raw. Michael Cole turned 46. Good job, Michael Cole. He has stuck around and made a way through that WWE triangle.
Right.
Yesterday, Tuesday, December 9th, Kurt Angle celebrated a birthday. The only Olympic gold medalist in wrestling turned 46. Today, December 10th, one S.A. Rios celebrates a birthday. Ain't seen S.A. in a long time. He was the guy who debuted Raw with Lita. He helped bring Lita out, right?
Right.
Today, also, JTG celebrates a birthday. JTG just turned 30.
Really?
Somewhere out there working those indies, making them checks.
He's only 30?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah,
did I
probably-
think he was older than that, man? I could have sworn he was older than that. I don't know. I guess.
And tomorrow, Thursday, December 11th, if you're around, one Rey Mysterio Jr. will be turning 40. Big Ray hitting the 4-0 in the 619.
Right. That's exactly how that's going to go.
So, news, Keish. This is the fun segment here.
Ooh, Lord news. Jesus.
All right. WWE has announced they will not go through with the 40-man Royal Rumble. Thank you, God.
No,
somebody.
exactly. Because that was just a horrible idea. That idea was horrific. I'm just saying, man. Who thought of that? Ugh.
It's a really bad idea. First of all, the Royal Rumble is always 30 men, right?
Right.
Never mess with that formula. The last one they did that really sucked. Also, the roster's too thin. They can't put 30 guys in that kind of a match. They barely got 30 guys. Like,
right.
Somebody gonna have to put on a mask and come in twice. I'm telling you, like, it's not. They don't have the horses. They just don't.
I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them to have somebody come in the ring twice as two different people.
Yeah, you're gonna see people you haven't seen in a long time. David Otunga gonna come get thrown out in the Royal Rumble. I'm telling you, it's gonna be.
It's gonna be foolishness.
So unless you lived under a rock the past 5 days,
Right.
CM Punk officially signed with the UFC. He announced it on Saturday night at UFC 181 with Joe Rogan and put it out there. We got the clip on the Ringtime Pro Wrestling website. I think it's like the last post, actually.
Right.
We was discussing it as we dropped the episode Saturday. The idea of him going to the UFC. Well, Keith, Dana White was moving faster than we were because he already signed the papers.
Right. He did. It's crazy. Personally, I think it's straight foolishness, and I don't think it's crazy that he signed him. I think it's wonderful that he signed him, but it's just crazy that we were just having this conversation not even a few days ago, and damn, it happened. Like, it's what? Like, yeah, I had one of those moments where it was just kind of like, you can be serious right now. This is real. This is real, people.
For all you MMA people who are mad that CM Punk got signed and somebody you know didn't get signed, you can suck it.
Okay.
I really don't care. And I'm happier than a fat kid with a Happy Meal. My boy going to be on the UFC, and I'm going to watch. And even if he get knocked the fuck out the first fight, I don't care. To me, he is success just by stepping into the octagon. So,
that is what is there. That's what matters.
Here's the thing. He's not going to fight for the title his first fight. So he's going to fight somebody at similar skill level, similar experience, probably only have a couple of fights under their belt, and they're going to go out there and go at it. And it is what it is. It's going to be a serious fighter. I think it's a hell of an opportunity for the other guy. Because if he knock out CM Punk, instant name. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think, I'm there for it. It's going to bring a lot of buys. They're going to print money over there. Smart move. I'm sure the WWE is pissing on themselves and they mad and why you had to do it. Okay. Here's the thing too. This is the best case scenario for them. He goes there and he's successful. That's the best case scenario for them.
Yeah, it is.
I would get past my hurt feelings and just realize the best case scenario is for me if that man will go over there and be successful. Because if he's successful, that's two of your wrestlers who have left wrestling and went over there and were successful. That legitimizes your sport so much that says, hey, the guys who come over from here can go over there and hold their own. So, like, I would be rooting for him like crazy. Speaking of MMA, they say Bellator is interested in signing El Burro Del Rio. They really probably willing to cut a big check. I don't know how much money Bellator has, but I know in their recent deal, Spike bought in on Bellator. And I think that's what they were trying to do with TNA, and it didn't work out.
Right.
Spike bought in on Bellator. This is actually a little bit more plausible. Del Rio actually is an MMA fighter and has like an 8-4 record prior to getting into the wrestling business. So that kind of is a thing. I don't know if he would be interested in Bellator or maybe would like to try his chance at somewhere like the UFC also. Or if he's even interested. Like if he just wants to continue doing professional wrestling. But who knows? The money may be too much,
Right.
for him to turn down. But, that's the thing. Last note and tidbit, which I thought was hilarious. Well, second note. Also, speaking of MMA, CM Punk, this show should be up before 11 o'clock tonight. So, 11 o'clock tonight on Fox Sports 1, CM Punk will be on there talking about his transition from the WWE to the UFC. Also, the mainstream publicity that this thing got is amazing, man.
It's ridiculous.
Sports Center, Fox Sports is going to cover it because they cover the UFC. Every news outlet, man, was all on it. So I think it was a win-win for everybody.
It was. Because not only did it give it publicity for UFC, but it also gave the WWE publicity as well. As much as some people, that's exactly what happened. So, because that's where he was associated the most for the past few years. So, it's a win-win. It is a win-win for everybody. Then, of course, CM Punk gets to put himself out there and broadcast his new business venture. This is going to be exciting, and this is going to be something that everybody is going to run, especially huge diehard CM Punk fans is going to want to see this. This is going to happen. This is definitely going to happen. So I'm excited. And I'm right there with everybody else. I just can't wait to see it.
All right. So let's go there. Last tidbit and note. If you have WWE 2K15, the video game, and you like creating players and having fun with that, do not create Chris Benoit.
Please don't.
It will get you banned.
Yeah.
It will get you banned from 2K Sports and the online community. They are not playing with you. The WWE is not having it. Because, due to the game engine that they got now with the mapping, and you can do the face thing and import the face and thing in there, and people are importing Chris Benoit and creating Chris Benoit.
And they have been banned from online play. Like, I thought that it was just something that had happened, in one instance with one person, but then I started seeing more and more reports, and people are like, no, this is a real thing. You can't do this.
Kind of funny. They don't want him on the video game, and I don't know if it's because you created him, so they don't have to pay any royalties or anything out. I think it's just a matter of they don't want that association, which is weird because they haven't X'd him out. Here's the thing. They haven't X'd him out of things on the WWE Network, but I think maybe it's too much work.
Yeah. It is.
If they had to go through and scrub him from all the matches and all the pay-per-views and stuff like that, it's too much work. Also, it provides a certain level of inconsistency, probably with a lot of the pay-per-views.
Right.
Because he was a big star in WCW and WWE, and were they talking later? You know what I mean? It would take a massive editing job.
Yeah.
And still have it cohesive and make sense where people still follow it. Where I'm editing my something and the guy's on the couch and the guy's gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
It'll look like a bad edit. So I get it. Just thought it was funny. That was one of those things that came across man. A lot of people probably have been banned too, because I know people couldn't wait to do it.
So, it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I didn't know that there was. Of course, they didn't put it out there. You know, this was something that would never be said. But obviously, when it happens, now everybody knows, like, okay, you can't create him as a character. And, you know, of course, this sparks up the whole conversation of, you know, Chris Benoit being recognized in his career and him as a person and the difference and the murders and all that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of like, look, you can't create him as a character. If you could, you wouldn't have to, because they would have just had him on the game in the first place. Right. That's the whole point of this whole situation. It's like, you wouldn't have to create him as a character. If they wanted him on the game, he would have been on the game, considering that this is somebody that used to be a part of this, of WWE himself. So it's like, history can't be rewritten. That just can't happen. And of course, what happened was tragic, and it just can't be erased. So people are sitting here, you know, well, he had a wonderful career and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, okay, what are you fighting for exactly? Like, are we fighting just to get him created on a game? Are we still having our conversation of, should he be recognized for his career despite the things that he did? Like, what are we talking about here? And that, to me, is just like a whole entire debate in itself. So, all I have to say is, just don't create them. That save yourself trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just pretty much it. Like, just don't give yourself a headache of having to go through all of that.
Right.
So, because that's pretty much what's going to end up happening. Like, all you want to do is just give yourself a headache trying to do all that extra stuff. And I'm not shocked. I have to honestly say I'm not shocked by this either. I'm not surprised. I mean, why wouldn't they do that? You know, why wouldn't they create?
Hello? Keith.
So, huh?
Okay, lost you there. Okay, not a big deal. That can be watched in the edit.
What happened?
No, it just totally was lost for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Let's go WWE TLC. It was a match created by the 3 tag teams, the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian. Very violent and brutal match. Only happened a couple of times early on in the inception of it. Then the WWE decided to prostitute the match and make it a pay-per-view.
Right. And
also, discover 18 variations that don't even make sense of the match. But let's get down to the matches, Keisha, and we'll break them down. And that'll be it.
Okay.
All right. The New Day will take on Goldust and Stardust in the kickoff show. Scheduled to be the lineup for the New Day will be Big E and Kofi. Okay. Xavier will be outside. This is easy, slam dunk. New Day got to win, right?
Right.
Like,
I mean, come on, man. They the new stable. They the new the shit thing. They the new it thing. They're the New Day. I'm sorry. I want to sing, but I'm not going to do that. I think that's awful. That's so awful. I want to sing, but I'm not going to do that. Because then that just plays into everything else. So I'm going to leave it alone.
Right. I'm going to say, it's pretty easy. There's no reason you can have your team lose. It's their first pay-per-view, but it's not pay-per-view. But I'll go with it. Big E and Kofi win. My match list is out of order. I just listed as the match list. Hey, so man, this is cool. No way saying that this is the main event, but or it's the second match. Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose in the actual TLC match.
Why is this the TLC match? That's my question. And I asked that question because of the other matches that come up later on in the pay-per-view, and it's just kind of like, really? Why is this the TLC match? I need to know.
Keisha, if there's nothing at the top of the ladder, what motivates you to climb the ladder?
Exactly. They're not fighting for anything. There's nothing at the top of the ladder that says, hey, this is what we're fighting for. Like, this match is just pretty much for nothing. It's just kind of like, okay, so what? Like, I understand the feud. I do. But why have them in this match and there's nothing at the top of the ladder? Nothing. It frustrates me. I hate it. I can't. I'm sorry. This irks my nerves. Like, to a T. I'm just like, really? What's the point? What is the point? The things that don't make sense. I swear. I need someone around here that's writing these things to use wrestling logic. Please and thank you. Because I can't deal. Do I even need to book a winner for this match? Should I? I don't know if I should.
I'm going to go ahead and say Bray Wyatt for no real reason.
Yeah, pretty much. We're going to agree, and we're going to move on. I really just don't even know what else to say about this. This is
like, if this is the first ever TLC match that ends in a pinfall, I think I'm going to be upset.
Well, what's the point of it being a TLC match if it ends in a pinfall? Like, can we not? Like, why? For what? It's stupid. It's stupid. Like, I'm going to say it. It's stupid.
Okay.
It's stupid. That's all I'm
on to another ridiculous match, Ryback versus Kane in a chairs match.
Okay, what's the difference? Like, what is the difference? So, if you use...
There's no ladders, there's no tables.
Like, I don't understand. I'm really not understand.
That is a question that was posed by one classic material, and I do not have the answer, and I don't think anybody has the answer. What are the stipulations? Because if you remove the stipulation of disqualification, everything is fair game, so it really doesn't matter.
Exactly. So naming it a chairs match doesn't do anything. It just makes it another version of a no disqualification match. Really? Like, look for one and that's it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I guess, you know what it is? Because I do this at work a lot, and I realize that's where I mess up at. I'm trying to make sense of it, and it's not happening. So let me not do that.
Right.
Let me not try and make sense of the situation.
Other than that, Ryback will take on Kane. So I'm going to say Ryback wins because Ryback is getting pushed right now.
Right.
Kane takes losses regularly, so it would go to make sense that Ryback comes out smelling like roses.
Of course. And then there's more.
All right.
I thought it was over.
Tag team titles, which is a regular ass match. Mizdow and the Miz will defend their belts against the Usos.
So I got a question, and I just know I said I wasn't gonna try to make sense before, but I'm just gonna ask this anyway. So the original TLC match back in 2000. This involves 3 tag teams, correct? Why?
Yes,
why does this not be the TLC match in the pay-per-view? Can somebody please answer this for me? As opposed to just being a regular tag team match with 2 belts. Well, I'm sorry. Am I correct? Yes, I am correct. With 2 belts on the line. What is this? I'm not. So we're not. Okay. Never mind. I'm trying to make sense. Let me stop because this is so ridiculous. This pay-per-view makes my head hurt. I just want to let you know. Like, everything about this pay-per-view makes my head hurt. I don't know who wrote. I'm going to address it. I don't know who on Creative Team wrote this up and said this was a good idea. I don't know who agreed to it, but you are all fucking up. I'm going to need you to get your lives together. Like, this is just so ridiculous. Every part of this is ridiculous. The booking for this is ridiculous. Shall we continue? Because we need to get the rest of the card. Everybody else needs to know who's going to win. So
easy peasy here. Miz and Mizdow keep the belts. They haven't had them long enough. I hate the Uso storyline with Naomi. I think it sucks.
It's stupid.
I hate bringing in significant others. They don't really ever push the meter to me. So, other than that, yeah, I'm going to go with Mizdow and Miz. They will win. And they keep their belts. Next, Dolph Ziggler versus Luke Harper for the Intercontinental Championship, and that is a ladder match.
Something that makes sense, people. Jesus. I'm sorry. I had to let that go.
I think this is Dolph's time. I think the fact that Harper's been getting disqualified the last couple of times, yada yada yada. I think this is Dolph's time. He's coming off that big pay-per-view. You got to keep the momentum on him. I'm gonna go with Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. So I think this is his time to shine. Hopefully, somebody doesn't prove me wrong. But I feel like this is his time to shine. This is his time to make this happen. So yeah, definitely going with Dolph.
Rusev versus Jack Swagger for the United States title. Regular match. This is a no-brainer. Rusev is going to continue his push. I think they just ran out of opponents, so they dug up Jack Swagger, and they're going to squash him again.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what's going to happen. So. Because I thought to myself, so you don't have anything else. We're going to repeat this? Okay, we're repeating this. Okay, good. Understood. Amen.
Nikki Bella versus AJ Lee for the Divas title.
I'm going to say Nikki's going to retain. I don't want her to, but I'm going to say Nikki is going to retain the title, and we're just going to continue on with this hilarious charade of her being champion. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen. So...
Unfortunately, I will agree with you, but yeah, I think Nikki holds on to the belt and continues on as the champion. And I don't know what's the next step for that.
It's so awful, Keith. It's so awful. They really need to change it. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they really need to change it. Something got to give. They have got to give. So... yeah.
Last but not least, John Cena versus Seth Rollins in a tables match. John Cena's number one contendership is on the line. Clearly, this probably will be the main event.
Yeah, I see this as the main event, and personally, I don't know why put them in a tables match. Tables, like really?
Oh,
whatever.
Not only does John Cena lose his number one contendership in the match, if he loses, Seth Rollins gets absolutely nothing if he wins.
Exactly. Right. So like, let's put it like this. If Cena loses, he loses no one contendership, right? But Seth already has a contract to make him the number one contender whenever he wants to be, pretty much. Like,
well,
he has
the
a
match
contract
doesn't stipulate that Seth will become the number one contender. I mean, because in theory, he could become the number one contender and still hold the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Right.
And
he could.
Actually, which would be a perfect scenario. Because I would challenge the champion to a match and beat the shit out of him with a chair and get disqualified as the number one contender. And then cash him a Money in the Bank.
I get it. I understand it. But I don't think they would do something like that. Personally, I don't think they'll make him the number one contender and let him have the briefcase. Like, but then again, it would be interesting to see at the same time. It would be very interesting to see. But I just really... So, Seth Rollins has nothing at stake here. Nothing. If he wins nothing. If he loses nothing. So really, he's just in this match to knock out Cena as the number one contender? For what reason? I just...
Because he just wants to be motivated to beat Cena.
I see.
Here's the thing. Cena's going to win anyway, because they want to have Cena versus Brock again, and there's no other really clear reason. So Cena's going to win.
Yeah, pretty much. and he's gonna pretty much. I can tell you now. He's gonna AA Seth Rollins to a table. Boom, that's the end of the match. It's over.
Yep.
Sorry, people, but that's pretty much how it's gonna end.
Boom goes the dynamite. Right.
Exactly. Like, that's pretty much this. You want to know the ending of the match and pretty much the ending of the pay-per-view, that's what's going to happen. He's going to AA him through a table and the match is going to be over. And then, and out of sheer surprise, maybe, Brock Lesnar comes down, F5s him, and then it's over. That would be an exciting ending to the pay-per-view personally, but sometimes you just can't get that level of excitement. I won't get my hopes up.
But yeah, that's it. That main event was done, and that's it, Keish. We have nothing left. That's the pay-per-view. We will see y'all next week, probably around Thursday, with a recap show and some other things. And that'll be that.
Bye, y'all. See you later.